Most.
Welcome to another edition of Coffee with Tom and Joanne. I'm Joanne Taranto.
And I'm Tom Matthews, and we are continuing our series on what it looks like for a seller who's onboarding with the Tom and Joanne team. So today we're going to be talking about photography day and what does that day look like for the seller and what is our role in the photography day. So Joanne, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so this is our fourth visit to your house. Our fourth visit to your house. It could be a fifth because sometimes if there is a lot of transition between that preparation and staging visit to the photography, there may be another intermediate visit there where, we evaluate the work, maybe make some further suggestions. But this is the next visit. The next visit, we show up with our team. And our team is going to be the people who are executing the marketing plan with us. So the photography team, they will come and basically they will do a quick tour through the house on their own and make sure that everything is ready. The most important thing is that the photographer does not move anything when they come to your house. So your trash bins need to be away, your countertops need to be clear, your beds need to be made, your dishes need to be out of the sink. Everything has to be ready for them to just come in, stand where they're going to stand, take your photos and leave. So they're not going to be moving laundry baskets or anything like that. So it's really important that that day we are ready to go. So we may arrive much earlier than the photographers if you feel like you need us to be there. Otherwise, we will just arrive at the same time as the photographers. And while they are doing their photos and we do a walkthrough with them to make sure that they capture the things that we find most important, while they are doing their photos, we are then doing our intake notes. So Tom, what does that look like?
I'm going to talk about the intake notes, but before I want to answer the question that everyone has, how long will this take? So it typically takes between 2 and 4 hours to do this process. And sellers typically stick around for the first 30 minutes, then they head off for a cup of coffee. So as the photographer is walking around doing photos and floor plans, Joanne and I are walking around doing notes. And this was kind of born out of this for me. I have like the gift to gab. I would go out and get contracts signed. Joanne would say to me, well, Tom, how many bedrooms are there? And I'm like, I don't know. How many bathrooms are there? I don't know. So Joanne and our assistant over the years created this really comprehensive, it's like 7 pages long of details. And it goes by room. And Joanne and I get our clipboard out and we go room by room and we walk around. How many windows are in the room? How many closets are in the room? Hardwood floors. What does it look like?
What type of lighting? What type of windows?
And this process,
flooring.
What kind of appliances do you have? Do you have GE? Do you have Samsung? Do you have Sub-Zero?
Yeah.
And this is helped us out in a tremendous way on multiple levels. It helps us when we're preparing the multiple listing service. It helps us when we're preparing our marketing, but it also prepares us and helps us when we're on our private showings. Because oftentimes people want more detail, and the more information that we've gathered up front, the more we can give them, because we are in an information now society and people want to know now. How old is the roof? How old is the boiler? So
what brand windows are these?
Yeah, so that first 30 minutes when we do ask the seller to stay, their stay as we're walking around asking those critical questions, so that when we're on tour with buyers or at an open house, my pet peeve is to walk into an open house, ask the agent at the open house, are we on gas? Are we on oil? And they say, I don't know. Like, then what are you doing here? We want to be able to give people really good information.
Yep, and just be able to answer questions on the spot, because the more information that we take in the upfront period, the less we have to bother you. When somebody calls us and says, gee, my client is hesitating because the windows are all original and it's going to be a big expense, we can then respond with, well, there are 22 windows in this home. And if you look at the average price of, we can help people to overcome their objection if we know what we're working with. And, if we say we go down into the basement and, let's pretend there's a 100 amp service, right? If somebody wants to add air conditioning to that house, they're going to need to upgrade the panel. Those two things go hand in hand. So we want to be cognizant of what the project will look like if somebody wants to do upgrades to your house.
Exactly. And it's so critical to just be very thorough on this process. And we also are making sure that the photographer is highlighting. So say you have a fireplace that you love, or you have an angle of a bedroom, or you have an angle of the yard. We make sure that we capture all of those angles and that the house is showcased in the manner you want it to be showcased in.
Right.
Because we sell lots of homes, but it's your property and we want you to have that ownership and be engaged in the process. So that when you walk away from the process, when you're leaving the closing and turning, your feeling is, I did everything that I could, and my broker was collaborating with me the entire way, and I have no regrets about this process.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we put a listing into the multiple listing service, you can have up to 42 photos. So you can imagine if you have, let's say your house is smaller, if you have a 1,500 square foot house, we need to come up with 42 photos
Right.
of that space, 42 interesting and engaging photos
Right.
that really demonstrate what's there. And, you know, conversely, if you have a very large house and it's 8,000 square feet,
Right.
42 pictures doesn't seem like that much. You may
No.
not even capture everything.
Right.
So what we try to do is make sure that we are doing the most cohesive job to know exactly what kind of siding you have, the color of your house. How many times have you left the house and then your client says, you know, oh, that yellow house that we saw, and you just can't remember what color the house was? It happens.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, this is what this stage looks like. And people often say, well, what's next?
Yeah.
Well, what's next is that the photos come back to us 24 hours later and we start working on the multiple listing service. So you're going to have to come back to our next video to hear about that next process. And I want to thank you for watching another video with Coffee and Tom and Joanne. I'm Tom Matthews.
And I'm Joanne Taranto. Please be sure to like and subscribe.